Hey guys, it's Ben here from Second Dynasty. Hopefully you are seeing me okay. The live stream has started and you are able to see the stream. We've changed things up a little bit in the office this week. I'm sitting at a new desk. We have a microphone. Boom, it is above me now. So let me know if you can hear me all right. And yeah, Maya crashed just prior to, or rather it didn't, I think it crashed, but I deliberately have reopened it, hoping to get back into things. In the meantime, while we load things up, I did have an autosave about 6 minutes ago, something like that. We have, great sound. The sound is great, awesome. So yeah, we didn't have the scene loaded up just yet because of that. So I will be instantly saving and then we can get to things. You might notice that my Maya screen is a little bit smaller. One of my screens stopped working last week. And so we've upgraded my desk. We now have a rig system to hold up the monitors, which I've wanted for a while for ergonomic reasons. And I have two new monitors, which are a little bit higher resolution than the 1080 ones I used to have. So while we're waiting for that to hopefully load in, it is taking an odd amount of time to load in. We can just briefly look at the work that Albin's been doing in the last little while, where he has done the add-on for the Frontiers where we had the crawl spaces. So there's all these new variants of crawl space tiles, so you can really build a maze behind the walls if you have that particular package, which was a part of our last Frontier. So I'm just going to make sure I got the chat up here.
I want to announce something.
You want to announce something?
Yeah, we had our, I guess that's our first commercial or ad or whatever. On the...
Oh, there was an ad beforehand?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't notice these things because I have the... I forget sometimes that I have a YouTube Pro or whatever it's called. So, okay, an ad. Excellent. Now we just probably got a fraction of a cent. So, yeah. Hey, Anders. Hey, Rutger. Quiet day today. Not so many people on. I guess we announced a little bit later. Maya is being very, very slow for some reason. It's a bit of a worry, to be honest, that it hasn't loaded this scene in. So the task manager is showing it's not responding. Maybe I should try restarting it a second time. I don't know. It's just odd because okay, I'm gonna end Maya, and hopefully we'll get it back up soon, and you guys will actually have something reasonable to look at. I'm just going to wait about 10 or 20 seconds, something like that. So yeah, camera position up here now. I guess if we switch to a close-up view, you can kind of see the boom now. You can see the mess out in the hallway. You can see the Odyssey down there. And yeah, if I could move the camera easily, I would, to show you that we have a table in the corner. Hannes has a nice place to come and sit and drink coffee.
Like a gentleman.
Like a gentleman.
Come, now you sit.
Speak of the devil and he will appear. Hannes is right there in the background creating shadows.
Are you alright? You're like a...
What's wrong,
What
Hannes?
has happened in here?
Are you a cat?
Are you a cat?
Should we grab you a box?
You alright, mate?
Hello, everyone.
So yeah, the famous train nerd himself has come to visit. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Maya here, with the crash in particular. So it's been behaving a bit odd. I suspect it may be slightly related to different shaders being active. So I'm gonna make sure. Let's see. I'm gonna go into my settings and preferences here and Windows settings and preferences plugin manager. The font is all small here, and I can see redshifts are not turned on, so I'm going to load that because I know there's redshift shaders in the scene. And I've got to make sure Arnold is turned on, which it should be by default. Substance, Maya to Arnold is on, yes. Okay, so I'm going to try one more time to open this scene. I'm going to try a different scene first. And oddly, it's telling me it's not synced. What if we look at the saved version of this? So let's see, we want... Wait, how odd. All of the scenes, there's nothing that's marked as today. Yeah, that's a bit of a worry. So I'm going to load an earlier version of the scene, which is... I've done a bunch of work, so... I'd be very upset if we've lost it.
There's no zero either.
So yeah, I don't know. I guess this is a bit of a turn off having a blank screen. The scene is load. This one loads at least. Okay, so that's a good sign. But you can see here that my fence is back at the state it was this morning. So this week has been somewhat of a write-off because of the issues mentioned. Like we've been to IKEA, we've had to assemble furniture, I was home with the dog. It all kind of adds up, unfortunately. So that is one of the things. I'm wondering if, like, okay, this one was made at 2:52. Let's try the one before then, which was at 2:13, and see if it loads. So, so all of this is a little bit more sporadic than it normally would be. A little less planned. How you guys going in the chat? Okay, so you guys can see some of the work I've been doing. The fence is there a little bit at least. And now that these have loaded, let's just try one last time to get that most recent version. The file sizes are the same, so hopefully it just loads in. Let's see. We can see down in the bottom corner, it's at 60, 70, 80, 90, 99%, 100. Now it should load in, but if it doesn't, we're back to square one. Yeah, that's not looking the best. So we might have to work from this scene, which means we've lost about half an hour of work, but most of it was wandering around the office and stuff. So, we haven't lost too much, okay. Yeah, I'm going to call this one Crash, so I'm going to open a new copy of Maya, which we can use. And we'll explain this scene once... because it's probably best not to, or I guess we can crash to this image we had in the background here. So let me just look and see which one is not responding. It's that one, and we'll open that older version as soon as Maya's finished loading. Alright, so file... recent files, and we go to Starfighter Modular Systems 3. No, we want to go to open it manually because it's an autosave we want. So Maya is set up to save every 20 minutes. So we usually don't lose more than that, but in this case we've lost 50 minutes. But like I said, I was kind of cleaning and tidying up and that sort of thing, trying to get the office in order so it's not such a shock to Lisa-Lot on Monday. Have you tried turning it off and on again? I mean, that's essentially what I was doing. Okay, so this scene loads up, which is good. I'm going to just straight away, the first thing to do when you're recovering a scene, if it looks like nothing's missing, if it loads in, you could save over the original, because autosaves will not be counted for making new iterations. So I'm going to Scenes, I'm going to Starfighter Modular Systems 3. I do have this on Dropbox, so I think and it's Dropbox Pro, so I think I got 3 or 6 months of iterations that I can open up. I'd say the lighting probably was affecting things a little bit as well. But in general, you can see the fencing system that I built. For some reason, the clips have disappeared, which is odd. So this uses 2 clips up the top. The wall itself, if we separate it, has these, it prints flat and has these holes on the backside. They connect, oh okay, there's a double copy of this or something. They connect to these pillars, and notice the pillars aren't in the center. They use John's connecting rectangle thing.
Barbed clips, I think.
Barbed clips, whatever. So it's an iteration of that, and these print on their side. So if you can imagine the print orientation to be more like this, right? If that's a flatbed. There's some corner pieces that will print the same, and then we just use some standard ramps. So really, right now, what I'm trying to visualize is what I'm trying to achieve on this map. Sort of like designing a Starship Troopers style outpost. I don't want to step too much on people's toes. I know Kathy Millett is making some awesome like landing pads and that sort of thing. We will have a very basic one, but basically you could combine this with those. It'll be a little bit of a wall. This will probably be a little bit more in keeping with our designs. And then I just want to, what we're missing here from the scene that I had open before is I'd started working on some ramps and just fleshing things out. So what I'm going to do is grab this, and we're going to look at it from the side in isolation. And I'm just going to move this over to the edge of the ramp. I'm going to move the pivot point to up here, and the pivot point you might also call a rotation point, and then we're just going to try angling this down. I might manually change it. Right now it's 25 degrees. Let's put it at 27, and that gets it to where you can see it's kind of intersecting. This is probably too steep of a ramp at the moment, but the idea being that you can get up onto a landing pad. This section's here, so there could be like a lift, possibly, because you might need to get cargo up, right? So yeah, I'm just planning out a basic wall system, very modular, designed for fairly easy printing. You thought there were firing slits for a second. No, at the moment we don't have anything like that, but we could certainly do some variants where it's a bit taller and whatnot. Right now it's just a 4x4 inch wall. With these struts, quite easy to assemble. Yeah, so this is our current sort of what we're working on. We'll have corners with turrets and things. You can see here this pattern needs adjusting. And then, as with last week, I need to leave fairly soon after the stream, because apparently now my wife has intake, which means she has to go and let the horses in. So yes, her stable duties are interfering with our streaming, but, that's life. If it wasn't a dog or horses, it would be kids, so, yeah. I'm just at that age where you do what your wife tells you. So yeah, basically I think a 4x4, we probably want to be descending at least to 1 inch for every 2 sections, maybe 3, because right here we're up at a height of 3 inches, like off the ground is 3 inches. So I'm just going to grab this, and we're just going to plot out a ramp. So I know this is quite boring stuff. We're not going to see a huge amount of progress today. Because a lot of the real starting work of a new project is actually getting the basics in before you start to iterate. So there does get to be a point where you get lots and lots of different new designs. But you have to get to that point first. And really we're still at the stage where it's like, yeah, we're launching this in the middle of June, but we're really, the craft we're building on, we have the Firefly here that we'll be iterating on. We have the Spider Crab, and if I just turn on the lighting here, you can see a bit better. That we can iterate on, probably with like a breaching version. We have the Gary Bath, which we'll be iterating on. And we'd like to do a proper scene where we have Oh no, I'll have to replay it at the end. Hope it was all good. You just... What, you mean the start of the episode? You basically just...
I said that
Oh.
we've been talking about her. And her...
Oh, just like... With the landing pads, we don't want to step on too many feet there, so... We're only going to have something very basic, and if you want something more complex or Star Warsy, Kathy's the one to go, and obviously this... We also had plans to do like the landing pad as a part of the tribes. We've decided not to do that for the same reasons. I think you should support Kathy's work if you're looking for that. Because all we're looking to do is some very, very basic landing pads, not the huge, vast, epic Star Warsy types that she will be doing. So yeah, and hopefully you can mix and match if you like a combination of styles. So once
add her link to the shop, perhaps?
Yeah, go ahead and do that. I don't know, Kathy, do you have a link you could send to me or Albin that's especially for the Kickstarter? Oh yeah, she gave me a link actually. I need to look that up.
That's on the...
Yes, it's the same one as on the Discord. So if you use that one, it'll say it's coming from us. So again, for every inch, so these light grey lines indicate every inch, right? And the ground is here, down at the 3rd inch. So it's 4.5 meters to the top at scale, at 28 millimeters, or 1 to 59. So we just want to ease that ramp down, probably so that it's essentially touching at about here. It's a very long slope though. Maybe we go to about 3. Let's say that's 25 degrees. Usually 22.5 is a good round figure. And then if we just took this and duplicated it and then just vertex snap it, we get pretty much to the ground as it is. So 8 inches to get us to the ground is pretty good. And we're just going to make sure that these actually match. So there we go. So yeah, just planning out essentially what we can expect here. We'll probably have some ladders as well. We'll have some additional cover. What I'm thinking here is like, this looks decent from the front side. Like you have a pattern. It's very much the big inspiration is the sort of outpost from Starship Troopers. Whiskey Outpost, I think it's called. Of course, it didn't have landing pads, but basically we have a wall. All of this is like modular setup, so like a carry-all could come in, dump the basics, and a platoon could get set up very quickly. But the idea is that this is some kind of like an air base, I guess. We really need help kind of trying to figure out what the campaign should be called, because Starfighters III doesn't quite suit. We are thinking more like planet-based. We've got the Gary Bath, we have the Stinger, we have the Firefly, and we have the Spider Crab. And we're thinking that the scene that we're going to build up will be a trio of Gary Baths attacking the ground base. Drop the base. So yeah. Also, I don't know, that blasted summer flood, should I share my idea about how we can collaborate too? Let me know. Or if you want to keep it as a surprise, that's fine too. But yeah, what I'm thinking of is we can take this wall. Please do. Okay, so to those of you who know or might not know, that blasted salmon flunge, aside from being a regular here, is also a sculptor or modeler. I'm not sure. I think you model, right, in Blender. But a specialist in alien creatures. And I was thinking, okay, as a part of this campaign, we're going to have some new weapons. Like here are some of the updated, older weapon systems and a couple of new ones like these pumped lasers that we have here. Those are new. Then we've like remade and made higher fidelity these. You can kind of see this is the new style, this is the old style. So we've increased the fidelity quite a bit.
This is called Starport Orion.
Starport Orion. I don't know. Starport Orion kind of sounds like it's bigger than what we want it to be.
FOB Benjamin.
Yeah, there's some ideas in there. I think we can. I think we can do better than that. But yeah, a couple of different weapon systems. We'll be doing more iterations than what we have here. Different sizes. But I'm thinking like, what if right in the middle of this, air raid that the Gary Baths are doing, we'll have some like weapon placement. So there's gunners with AA cannons and whatnot. What if they came right in the middle of one of that blasted Camouflage's aliens coming to the base and trying to sell alien weapons, like I don't know, some kind of plasma cannons or more exotic weapons than these. So we could potentially get one or two new weapon types and an alien weapon salesman. I don't know how that will look, but I'm excited to see how it will turn out. It's just very early days yet, that concept and idea. And then we're also going to have ground crew and pilots working with some people.
Big trouble in Little Outpost.
Yeah. That could be one of the variants. So yeah, I'm going to. I like the front side well enough. I mean, it's a pretty boring generic look, but that's what we're looking for, like modular, right? I imagine these sections are connected together with these. So probably what we want to do is start looking on the back side and adding some detail here that just makes this look a little less boring. And I think one of the ways we could potentially achieve this is if we look at, let me see, I'm going to duplicate this and we'll just move it out a bit. We'll see if the lighting here is very pixelated. The reason for that is the scene is very big. There are a lot of things here. Like if I took all of these items here, for example, or rather all of these, and we don't want that selected, and I hid them, this shadow is going to become higher detailed. You see that, how it's not as pixelated? So in Maya it's based on the size of all of the objects in the scene. So basically it takes the shadow map, which is bitmap related, and it casts it on like the whole area here. So if that area is smaller, the shadows are also smaller. Just as a little aside there. So what I think we can probably get away with is actually selecting around these edges, deleting them. We're going to have to cut out around here, or... We're going to have to keep some of these sections. So I'm thinking we might mirror both sides and see what we can get away with on the building platform. We don't want any of this sticking out. See how these stick out more. But some of it can be conserved. Not all of it. But basically, yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this backside entirely. So to do that, I think we need to get rid of this and this, and then just take this off. And then we'll copy this out again. Now there are a couple of different options here, because obviously this side is going to be face down. It's going to be what is printed first on the build plate, and obviously these indentations here, we need those no matter what. Actually, I'm just gonna duplicate this again. So really what I want to be doing is turning this around like so. I don't know if we need the exact same design too. So for example, these are not useful on that side, so maybe we start by closing these up, and yeah, we'll just see how this goes. I'm just experimenting here. I don't have a huge big goal. You know what, we'll turn off the lighting altogether so that things are easy to see, but also we don't get too much lag. So I'm just gonna fill in this with a bridge, because like it makes sense, like the connecting sections are, I guess technically it would be better if they were inwardly facing, but you won't see that detail then. So I'm just going to leave it as is. All of this interior detail I want to get rid of the sort of crenellations. So I'm just looking to make something that's repeatable, but doesn't look too garish. Let's see. Any more good suggestions, Alvin?
Well, they're talking about alien invasion of Airstrip 1. And then they said, Blosses and Thor said, I get vibe of a Frontier base, so maybe Frontier base Alpha or some other Greek letter. And Orlman said, to us, response to that, maybe to keep with the short no-nonsense names, Outpost Alpha.
Or Outpost Omega. Is a possibility. I was thinking about, but the other thing is like actually no, because Outpost Origins exists, right, from my mate Ian from Dragon's Rest. Shout out to them. He's made a really cool outpost. Maybe we can look at it very briefly. Let's see. Let's just get a thing out in Outpost Origins Kickstarter. Maybe look at that. It's from probably 2020. So we're talking a good 3 or 4 years now. I guess it's 3 years. I can mark that as received because I got mine. And then I guess I can't make that go away very easily. But yeah, if we look at the campaign itself, this is from 2020 and this cool modular campaign. Maybe you've seen some of his vehicles. He did have a landing pad, which he graciously shared for free because we had the Sleipnir about the same time many years ago. So I want to make stuff that works alongside these things, like Kathy's stuff. I really believe in the idea that, we can provide for the community together. It doesn't have to be all about competition and who gets the best thing. I've used some of Ian's stuff in the background, like this was in the background of a Starship 3. So yeah, there's some nice here that can stuff here that can still work alongside our stuff, and somewhere there is a landing pad. Obviously it's not on this page though, but yeah, so there are a couple of different people with outposts already. I don't want to tread on their toes, is what I'm saying. But at the same time, want to provide something that's unique and Second Dynasty style to everyone, to all the good folks at home. So yeah. And also, I don't want to make it all about the landing pads, as I said, just because it's a little silly if we've got someone else in the community going ahead and making landing pads. They're complementary, but it's the whole thing of like, I know that people might have burnt out from that campaign, for example. So it makes more sense to make something new and fresh. Album wasn't laughing at the burnt out campaign thing, I'm sure, but
No.
just to be sure that that's known.
We got a suggestion for Fort Bravo Echo Niner.
Okay.
That spells Ben.
Oh.
Yeah. And people like the
Suck
vehicles
ups.
and Dragon's Rest stuff, and they thought they were cool. And Rock just completed the Sleipnir. What a ship!
Ah, yes.
And also, Dalton joined us.
Hey Dalton, how's it going? Actually, yeah, that reminds me, we're very close to release on the Type S. We had a beta up 2 weeks ago. Now we're talking about more like the release version, if I understand it correctly. And there will be some bonus items later on. But I believe that's where we're at. The last time I checked in with Dalton, I just haven't had time today. Like I said, with all the moving and changing the office about, I should probably sit a little bit more centered too so you guys can see me better. The sound, does it sound better or worse this time? Let me know because of the new rig. It's still the same equipment, so probably not too much change there. But it would be good to know. And then I'm just gonna extrude here. I'm basically thinking here about matching. Like, this is not going to be a perfect match, but it'll bridge together nicely, basically. So yeah, I'm trying to get a flatter version on the back here, so it does look a little bit more prefab. So now I should technically be able to get here. Wait, what am I doing? I need to close some bridges here and here, and then what happened? There we go. And then we should be able to do the same here, and then again on this side here. So close there, close there. Alright, everyone makes a big items, i.e. the landing pads, but from a tactical combat view, big open spaces are not great, but the luggage racks, the sitting areas, etc. are great tactical areas. Yeah, like, obviously, I agree with that. But, you know, considering the games that are being played these days, like Stargrave, for example, you know, Legion, and the newer Star Warsy one that they're building, I can't remember what it's called. I'm sure Kathy will help me. They have more of a focus on, you know, tactical combat. So I guess this is a sort of like way of adding some set dressing to that sort of stuff. Alright, so yeah, I'm filling in these holes, but I've realized that we have another issue here that we'll need to address. And that is the fact that it's kind of hard to see, but here, this area sticks out more than that, so we'll have to eventually grab all of these polygons and just move them in a little bit. And then eventually what we're basically going to do, if you look at this back section, we're just replacing this rear section with the new piece that we're making. And it should make this feel a little bit more detailed. So yeah, for example, if we take all of this and we just grab those polygons, and really we are still in the heavy experimentation area. Really there's only so much in this scene because and it's not really ideal to have like all these starfighters in one scene. There's quite a lot to load into memory.
Shatterpoint.
Shatterpoint? Oh right, yeah, the new name. Yes. So yeah, now this will be flatter, and we just iterate by copying down the next sections. And in fact, I believe what we could do is just remove these again, like so, and we'll remove the edges. And because these sections are actually already mirrored, we'll just fill in these gaps.
We got the question here. Well, there are a few comments overall, but the last one was from Dr. Camouflage. He asked, is the intent here to make a thicker wall? I really like the idea of a thin wall.
No, the idea is to keep the walls the original thin version. The idea is that we have this backside here, and we want it to have a little bit more of a pattern than what it currently has. So we want to have this sort of chamfered edge. This is very flat. My main concern is if you look at the back of the wall here, you really have nothing to differentiate it from the next section. It's very flat. And we might introduce some cavities just a little bit or something. I'm not entirely sure yet. So I'm going to duplicate this. We're going to take away this border.
Did you hear about the Castra Alpha?
The what?
So Earlmans said, oh, another idea. As this is a quick deploy base, that any force will probably drop down and pick up as needed. How about taking the name from those Roman fast-built camps? Castra Alpha.
I mean, we have also had a line of items called Base Camp on Tribes. So maybe something that is related to that. Like, I don't think that's a bad idea, by the way. We haven't had a tradition of using Latin names. And I'm not sure it would be a good time to start. We do have these issues here. Maybe it, we'll delete that one and we will straighten up these sections. So a good way to straighten things up is to move the pivot point and then scale. That way you're only going in one direction, but things will match up nicely. Although, yeah, these are unnecessary now, so we can just delete. I'm actually control deleting, which makes sure that we get rid of those extra vertexes. And yeah, basically if we scale this instead just in one direction, it saves us doing the work that we would otherwise have to do, which is manually moving it. So, that doesn't quite match up. That's annoying. But I'm going to move this one so it all is straight, just so we can create some uniformity here. Everything else looks like it matches up. We want to make sure that the bottom here also now matches up. And that one's out of place too. Just make sure this one isn't. Right. That all looks good. So now technically if we just take this and duplicate to the grid, when we drop it down, it should all align. And it doesn't there for some reason. So I don't know why that is, but it is annoying. So what happens if I do this? Okay, yeah, the top wasn't moved. In any case, that should all go back together now. Mesh, combine, non-deformer history. So basically now what we're going to do is we're going to grab this end of things. We're going to make sure that flat part is flush against the rear here, like so. Then we're going to grab all along this edge, although we need to build a new bottom section. So I'm just going to grab along here. We're going to extrude. We're going to match to the current depth. We're going to bridge this. And I'll isolate this so you can see it a bit easier. So we're only showing this object. So now if I select around the edge here, it should all, oh okay, we need to sew this together. There we go. So if I select around here now, oh, we forgot to sew there. Merge vertexes is the sewing action. So now if I double select here, you get the whole rim. Yes, Alvin.
Yeah, did you see the question about whether or not this was going to be a Kickstarter or something?
It is going to be a part of our next frontier. It's not a Kickstarter per se. It's a frontier. And that is super annoying that this doesn't match up exactly. Why is that? Actually, you know, we can fix this. All we need to do is, because see the reason this didn't match up perfectly, I believe, is because I did two bridging actions independently there. So if I just mirror this in the X, that's the red arrow here. So we change the scale to -1. Now it's taken this and flipped it over, and all these should line up. Why did they not line up? I guess because this middle line isn't actually. That's a bit of a worry actually. How that's sticking out. Oh, what is going on? Does that mean that this is not completely flat as it is? We may have a larger issue here. Let's view it from the side. And yeah, look, this doesn't line up. It sticks out. So that's a bit of an issue. What we can do is just grab all along here. And we know that further down it is in the correct section. So these are annoyances for sure. Not something we like doing, but fairly easily fixed at this stage. What I really hate is when I find an issue like this after about 2 years and realize it's been iterated throughout everything.
Yeah, that sucks.
So yeah, that was the basic version. So we're actually going to be deleting all of these afterwards when we have a finalized version. So yeah, this one now needs changing. Let's
so
see.
I just want to run something by you.
Yeah.
Kathy wondered why Frontier, and we got a few responses and speculations to why this is.
Yep.
Elman said, I'm guessing Frontier because it has a built-in audience as well as a more SL-oriented customer base. I seem to recall something like that from the stream. And Blasters and Flange said, smaller campaign, I think. Plus, St. Dynasty seems to be on good terms with MMF, so they get a bit more exposure. Plus, many of the items exist already, and these add iterations.
Yeah, well, that is a very good question. And it's always a balancing question for us. I think if you are trying to get established, then Kickstarter is a better platform because you'll be exposed to a wider variety of people. It feeds into... Kickstarter has an algorithm where you can really work and get traffic to the site. Because really, you're not just trying to sell a product. In that case, you're trying to build an audience. Whereas, we have an audience... but basically, my manufacturer doesn't like to promote Kickstarters because they want to keep people on Frontiers, even though Frontiers is a different system. I don't know why this keeps like going back and forth. I'm trying to figure this out. So there is that kind of base issue. So promotion is harder. Like my manufacturer's promotion, when you have it, it's second to none. You get the most relevant customers interested in your product, right? However, those interested customers are only sort of like seeing your stuff for maybe 3 or 4 days of the campaign when it's in my manufacturer's marketing materials. So the fact that you're not getting constant marketing is an issue. So basically, all of our additional traffic in between is either ads that we've paid for, or we send outs to our previous campaign saying, "Hey, we have this campaign running. Are you interested?" And if you don't have that, it is more of an issue trying to get new people because. If you're trying to get established, you don't presumably have a starting audience. Now, Kathy will have a little bit of one because she's had a YouTube channel for many years. And even though most of the people there are maybe more interested in a different style of hobby, like trains or whatnot, there's still going to be a few that are happy to support her, especially if she has like a buy me a coffee sort of pledge level. So Kickstarter is a way to get established. Now, I still like to do a Kickstarter per year, but I want to do it for a larger campaign where I'm prepared to spend a lot on marketing, because when I do a Kickstarter, I will pay Facebook and Google. I have to make the ads myself, but sometimes I use Yelp, which is a service. It's very expensive. It costs about $250 to $500 a day in marketing. So it is not cheap, but they get a return of at least 1 to 2 usually, which means for those $500 you put in, you'll get $1,000 back. So that kind of money is best used like once a year, and in that case, I think it's best to use it for our September-October campaign, which very tentatively, I don't want to commit just yet, looks like it will be the modular cutter. And if John keeps not turning up to these Friday streams, that's probably what's going to happen. So what's going on here? Was there 2 different models here? Is that the issue? There is, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
No?
Overlapping faces.
So, I thought so, but then like, what? Oh no! What? I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm confused by this. It feels like there's 2. Ah, there was 2. Okay. So we still need to freeze transformations here, which is why those were mirrored. So, yeah, they're both different tools to accomplish the same thing. but some are more powerful than the other. See, Kickstarter, if you can make a good first day impact, the first day impact is everything. So that's why you want to get your campaign up on Kickstarter months in advance if you can, at the very least several weeks, so you can appeal to the audience that you have, or create an audience so that there are people excited about your project on day one. If you don't have that, you know what's going to happen. You put it up on Kickstarter, you share it, and you end up with 5 or 6 backers, and that's it. And I've seen that happen time after time with people that just have not prepared properly for a Kickstarter campaign, or think that it's just a simple case of putting it up on Kickstarter and people will find it. No. Whilst you have a Kickstarter campaign, you are working on that campaign for the duration of that campaign. That means you are sharing things on forums, in Facebook groups, your own social media, assuming you have a presence. And if not, you want to be building it up while people are excited and interested in your campaign. And the best way to keep people engaged is by making stretch goals that you can unlock together. So I think for STLs, stretch goals are something that people assume. You don't have to have thousands. In fact, you should plan at a lower level so that you don't have tons and tons. It should be manageable. You don't want to spend the next 3 or 4 months distributing and making the stretch goals you promised. Ideally, you only want to spend, like, say, 1 or 2 months delivering them so that you can start work on your next project.
We got a few interesting comments.
Yes.
I first found out about Second Dynasty from Seth
Sorokowski, yeah.
channel. And similar to me, the Oleman said, found out about Second Dynasty from the Chimera Kickstarter, but didn't commit until I saw Seth's Scoudes video.
Nice. So that wasn't a question?
No, it just found it interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, and that was a great campaign. We had some sponsorship with My Mini Factory. I don't know what the actual deal was, but it was really nice. Kathy, I think, had a similar deal. So we've met some nice friends along the way, and My Mini Factory have been good to us in that way. So I kind of feel, honestly, if I didn't have the relationship I had with My Mini Factory, I'd say we'd probably put everything up on Kickstarter to start with, unless we were doing a very small campaign. Because My Mini Factory does not, at this time, have the organic traffic. See, what happens is, if you are getting people sharing, talking, chatting, it's very important in your Kickstarter to have people in your chat, making comments, liking your updates. Technically, they say you shouldn't do any updates because it reminds people. See, Kickstarter, people can cancel. They make a pledge, but that's not guaranteed until your campaign actually is out there and finished. So there is that issue of, people can jump ship. That's another reason why I don't want to do, too much focus on landing pads, for example, because I don't want to tempt people that are still on Kathy's campaign, because there will be a little bit of overlap if we're going... actually, probably not. What am I saying? We're not launching this until, like, June. But still, if it had been running at the same time, there's a chance that, they're on Kathy's campaign, they've backed that, they're all in, and then they see my campaign's up, and it's like, but actually, I want that $50 to go to this instead. And, you could end up with not backing anything because people think about it too much. Or, a big bill comes in. Whereas Frontier, it's like, you buy it right then, right now. You get the cash directly. And My Mini Factory used to have a pledge manager. We used to see about 25% additional sales on that. But that really isn't promoted anymore by them. So what I'm looking for here is, if we're moving this back to the initial starting position, I'm just going to make sure that the pivot point is back
We got a comment from Kathy.
at the rear. Yep.
She's finished 26th of May.
Yeah, there you go. So there's not going to be any overlap. We're definitely not going to be ready by the end of May. I think it'll be... Whoops. See how this went all red here above? I've accidentally hit the S button. which means set key. Basically an animation tool in Maya, just something to be looking out for. For example, this object is not animated, but if we look at the Firefly here, the animated instructions are still in, so if we move our timeline, you can see that the parts start flying away and disappearing. So yeah, basically this would turn that into an animated part. It's just an annoyance if you ever do anything with it.
I thought almost you were going to say it would turn it into an anime.
I wish, that's like the future. So yeah, I'm just going to rename this to Barrier Wall 1, or just Barrier Wall, so we know it's like our hero wall. Then we move it back into place, and here you can see the clips in... Okay, why is that... Oh, I see, I've moved it an inch over and not moved the clips, that's why. So this is where the clips go. This is the pattern you end up with, and now on the other side at least you can see that there's this structure that looks like, you know, it's all attached to these supports. It looks like the modules are these plates here. And, you know, they're built into sections. So there possibly could be a few more details to do on the back there. This will still print quite nicely in 4 sections, which then merge. So let's see. It does need a proper name. Hoping to see a Rampart / Goth. Rap Goth. Let's see. The Chimera campaign was before I owned my first printer, so I let it pass by. Okay, that's why. Yeah. I mean, it's nice to know that that's the case. Is there going to be a control tower? I haven't really thought about it. Maybe that's a nice little stretch goal idea. But yeah, let's duplicate this up and see how it all looks together. I could probably have added some color. But you can see now that like the inside looks like it has a structure. It's not boring like the old wall. Small things, but it makes a big difference, right? I feel anyway. So yeah, we're going to have some sort of raised up landing pads basically. We're going to have, you know, some corner towers. Maybe we could do a similar thing where you have just these sort of struts. These are just inspired by like a stage equipment, like the kind of struts you would use to hold up lights at a concert.
Could we do something like that, perhaps?
Yeah, you could do like that for the tower, maybe a lift or a ladder, and then just a little box thing up the top. And I think we combine that with our base camp models, maybe. So yeah, if you just wanted to see really quickly, we could combine. Also, sorry, select this group and just move it up and put it on the landing pad. Obviously for a shuttle you might use a slightly larger one. We will build these modular. But yeah, just to give some kind of idea, you get up here, there'll be a ramp up, you know, you can board or whatnot.
We have gotten a few interesting points there, I think.
Yeah?
First, Lotte Samouflage was responding to the detailed question or comment. He doesn't really know if he thinks it needs more detail, but it would be nice to have some clip-on gun ports or detail. That could be cool. And then Total Lish had docking color that mates to the side/height of the existing ships and trusses. And you could do a framework guard tower, modular in height, and then a modified barrack/shack as a control tower top. Keep as many parts multi-use as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible, and I'm quite open to suggestions. It is at an early stage right now, although we'll probably be moving quite quickly next week, assuming I can actually get, 4 or 5 days on this, which has been the main challenge. And obviously, I'd like to get out. I need to go home very soon, actually. But tonight, when I've got some more time, I'll try and see if we can't release the Type S 1.0 version, I guess. That's exciting, finally. And then, of course, the sooner that the gig...
Deck plans now.
Yeah, deck plans. So, because, we haven't had a release for a while, I kind of want to do an update. But time's getting away this week just because of all the changes. I kind of wish I could just... maybe I can take a photo and show you guys what it looks like. let's see, I need my camera. And I'll do a video. And I will just show this room off. How we've changed things. We've moved the sofa. And then we have the new setup here. And then, of course, our mascot. And I'll see if I can't share this immediately and show it off. So if I go into my Dropbox, and just make sure my pictures are synced. Let's see, I think I need to change to my private one. Go to photos, and it should sync shortly. Be a nice display landing pad for the ships. Yeah, I mean, like, these will be built modular, so you can make them a bit bigger. You could just have them resting on the ground, too. Oh, by the way, guys, I could show you, whilst that syncs. I have been working on some things I probably shouldn't have, and so I can't say that I've done nothing this week, but if I look at the close-up here, I have redesigned the original turret. And you can kind of see, here we go, the barrels use like modern techniques. There's actually a seat in here. I think you can barely see it. The hatch opens up. So this is the original turret from the beta. And I kind of have been working in that scene as well. I don't have it ready to go though. So I'm not going to show it off today. We'll see. I've kind of like had in the back of my head that eventually Dalton wants, you know, to make deck plans of all these ships. And I was just in, I was in the mood, you might say. So I'm just going to quickly go to our, let's see, camera uploads here. Albin's having a good giggle at something. 7-up, so it doesn't count. Yeah, so like I really enjoyed doing the work that I did on the Type S, as far as like coloring things and then actually showing them off in renders that looked really cool and with all the lighting already in. And yeah, I don't know, I've been doing that in my spare time rather than playing video games, so I don't know, I probably need to balance things a bit, but it's not like work. Okay, where is this video? Oh, that's my dog. He looked surprised that that video was put up. So, obviously this is not supported. It should have today's date. Where is it? Let's see. Today is the 21st of the 4th, and a video. Here we go. This is it. I'll download it. This room off. We've changed things. We've moved the sofa. And then we have the new setup here.
Oh.
And then, of course, our mascot. Alright. I'll play this one more time because I was talking. This room off. We've changed things. We've moved the sofa. And then we have the new setup here. And then, of course, our mascot. Look at how much dust there already is on my tabletop. I wiped that down too. But you know, okay, that was my phone camera. That explains why it managed to pick everything up so nicely. But yeah, we're going to leave things here for now. There's a lot more to do, but you know, I think we can make it prefab is the look we're going for. You could, of course, put railings on the other side. We might have crenellations or alternating shapes here for additional defenses. But just think of that outpost from Starship Troopers. That's the look we're going for, only like an air base at the same time. So we'll have ancillary vehicles, we'll have fueling stuff, and we'll have character miniatures. So looking to work with a couple of new sculptures as well as old ones. So stay tuned for that. We should have more to show next week. So please do join us again. Is there any danger of the ships in the window being affected by melting? No, there is not. Basically, you need to get to 70 degrees plus before PLA starts to get melty.
Not happening in Sweden.
And even biodegrading, and even that process takes about 10 years. So, not going to happen here. And also, our front windows do not get direct sunlight, I don't think. Because they are, I guess they're north facing, but not like direct. We don't get direct sunlight in. No. I'm looking at the shuttle and just thought, why not make a larger shuttle, same design, but twice as wide and 3 times as long? I mean, it's possible. Never say never. Some people have probably attempted it. Anyway, yes. I need to go. Thank you for joining me today. We will see you next week. And I think I'm home next Friday, so I might have to stream on the Thursday or something instead. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining us. See you later.